3 men posing as HOA enforcers stormed into the home of 82-year-old Evelyn Carter, believing she'd be an easy mark. They were sent by a corrupt HOA board member, convinced an elderly widow would crumble under their fake authority. But they didn't know Evelyn was the daughter of a World War II veteran, the widow of a soldier, and the grandmother of a fallen Marine. And her 1945 Colt M1911 was still loaded. Wait until you hear how this showdown unfolded and why justice arrived with a glass display case and a quiet, unshakable resolve. The black SUV rolled onto the graveled driveway of Evelyn Carter's weathered farmhouse, its oversized tires crunching like a predator's footsteps. Evelyn stood at her kitchen window, her arthritic fingers clutching the curtain's edge. At 82, she was barely 5 feet tall, but her sharp eyes missed nothing. The hurricane that tore through Jefferson Parish the previous year had left more than fallen trees. It brought whispers of imposters in fake uniforms, preying on the elderly, stealing heirlooms and pensions. Evelyn's home, built by her late husband Henry in 1956, stood free of any HOA's grasp. The SUV's door bore a crooked decal. HOA Enforcement Division. No HOA had such a thing, not with tinted windows and men without name tags. Evelyn's pulse stayed steady. She'd faced worse than this: wars, loss, the flag-draped coffin of her grandson. Her hand moved to the oak cabinet above the stove, retrieving a worn wooden box. Inside, wrapped in an oily rag, was the Colt, its steel frame dulled by decades but heavy with history. Her father carried it at Normandy. Now it rested in her palm, solid, certain, loaded. The screen door creaked as she stepped into the hallway, each move deliberate. Through the window, she saw 3 silhouettes, broad-shouldered, clad in cheap tactical vests, exuding arrogance. The antique clock ticked in the living room, joined by the soft click of a chambered round. Evelyn wasn't looking for a fight, but if they wanted one, they'd learn this house wasn't what they expected. The SUV's doors opened in unison, and 3 men emerged, their confidence unearned, like actors in a bad play. No badges, no insignias, just blank patches and mirrored sunglasses. The tallest, wiry with tattoos snaking down his arm, pounded the front door with a fist meant to intimidate. The second, stockier, circled toward the shed, eyeing the latch. The leader, broad with a square jaw, shouted, "We've got a complaint! Yard violations, unpaid dues, ordinance breach. Open the door." Inside, Evelyn stood firm, Colt at her side. Her home was her fortress, built board by board before HOAs existed. "You have no right to be here," she called, her voice like tempered steel. She didn't open the door. Let them wonder. But the leader sneered. "Then we'll come in ourselves." The wiry man kicked the door, wood shuddering. The stocky one tested a window. The leader stayed in the blind spot, trained for more than intimidation. This wasn't an inspection, it was a robbery cloaked in fake authority. The door splintered under another kick, wood chips scattering. Evelyn positioned herself in the hallway's shadow, and Colt raised. Her hands trembled from age, not fear. The wiry man stepped through, his smirk fading as he saw her. "Take one more step, and I'll fire," she said, her voice a calm decree. He laughed. "You can't even hold that steady, old lady." He stepped forward. The air froze. Evelyn's finger, steady on the trigger, moved with resolve. The Colt roared, its shot echoing like thunder. The man clutched his leg, collapsing in shock, disbelief etched on his face. He hadn't seen her strength until it was too late. Evelyn stood unmoved, barrel steady, eyes locked on him. She hadn't wanted this, but her home was no place for invaders. The gunshot shattered the intruder's bravado. The stocky man stumbled, dropping his radio. The leader shouted, "She's armed! We're out!" But escape wasn't an option. 2 houses down, James Thornton, a retired Marine, watched via his security camera. The gunshot rang through his open window. Setting his coffee down, he grabbed his shotgun and dialed the sheriff. "Thornton on Maple and 3rd. Break-in at Carter's. Homeowner fired. I'm stepping in." By the time the intruders reached the porch, James was there, shotgun glinting in the sun. "On the ground," he said, voice flat. "Don't move. This isn't your day." The men froze, one dropping to his knees, the other hesitating before complying. Evelyn watched from inside, Colt lowered but ready. James didn't yell, he didn't need to. "Wrong street," he said. "Too many veterans, too many eyes, too many who know what freedom costs." Sirens wailed, lights flashing as cruisers arrived. The imposters lay face down, their fake authority gone. Evelyn sat inside, and Colt unloaded on the table. The youngest intruder sobbed. "We were told it was legal." Abandoned property under HOA rights. Officers secured the scene, but questions lingered. Who sent them? Within 48 hours, investigators traced the plot to a sitting HOA board member who targeted elderly homeowners, feeding addresses to hired thugs. Stolen heirlooms fueled the black market trade, unnoticed until Evelyn's stand. The courtroom hushed as Evelyn entered, her cane tapping the tile. "I defended my home," she said. "That pistol was my father's at Normandy, my anchor when my husband served, my solace when my grandson didn't return. When they broke my door, they threatened my memories." The jury listened, rapt. A juror exhaled, and another nodded. Evelyn wasn't just defending a house, she was guarding a legacy. The verdict came fast, not guilty, fully acquitted. She paused by the Colt's case, her eyes lingering. Outside, neighbors and reporters lined the steps, watching her descend, proud and composed. The trial wasn't about one moment, it was about what she stood for. 2 HOA members were arrested, one caught fleeing. Their scheme, exploiting the vulnerable, collapsed. Evelyn refused compensation, instead proposing a city-funded safety program for seniors, security systems, check-ins, a hotline. The city approved it unanimously. At the press conference, she said, "I'm old, but others need protection, and not all have a Colt from 1945. Applause followed, soft but profound. A month later, Evelyn sat on her porch, chamomile tea in hand. The breeze was gentle, the sun warm. Beside her, in a glass case, was the Colt, its plaque reading, "Serve the nation, then me." A boy passing by waved. "All good, Mrs. Carter?" She smiled. "Just fine now." Justice hadn't come with sirens, it came from her steady hands and refusal to yield. Evelyn's stand wasn't about vengeance. It was about protecting a home where generations laughed, mourned, and built something worth defending. Courage doesn't always roar, sometimes it's a grandmother with a teacup and a story etched in steel. Her actions sparked debate. Was her shot justified, or too reckless? Could she have waited for help, or was her stand the only way? What do you think? Should Evelyn have been fired, or was there another path? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take on courage, justice, and standing your ground. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories that challenge and inspire. Let's keep the conversation going.